Hi, I'm Joe Horn, and you're watching Pelican Sports TV.
BetterBatonRougeJobs.com has been extremely beneficial for the TM Automotive Group. And what stands out to us, it's easy to use, not only for us, but it's easy for the applicants. And it's the quality of applicants that we get. It's timely. We post something in the morning. By that afternoon, we have double-digit applicants. And again, it's the quality of the applicants.
Employers, now is a great time to hire, recruit, and look for potential new employees.
BetterBatonRougeJobs.com. It's free for job seekers and great for business.
You're on the same flight.
We'll be on the same plane, regardless.
Yeah, what we need to work. Anything together? Do we know that?
Got it.
Thanks, Dave.
The big, brilliant, thin Samsung Infuse 4G. Only from the network of possibilities, AT&T.
Pelican Sports TV presents Pelican Radio. Get ready to mix it up with me, Tommy Krysan, and Chris Landry, weekday afternoons from 3 to 4 p.m. Pro sports, college sports, high school sports, and much more. On the Score 1210 a.m. and on the internet at thescore1210.com.
40 years, 4 decades, nearly half a century. That's how long the citizens of Greater Baton Rouge have chosen Richards Honda. A simple, sincere, and honest process.
Louisiana's oldest and most experienced Honda dealership for over 40 years, Richards Honda.
Here are some quick comments by Coach Les Miles and the players about the Auburn offense and the quarterback situation that's a little mixed up over there. Here's some comments from LSU this past, earlier this week, I should say.
I don't know exactly how they approach it and what their thoughts are. The only thing I can tell you is that we recognize that this team won a national championship, that we were, on their field and played against a very talented Auburn team, and we're going to look forward to hosting them and playing our best this Saturday.
Watched all the football games. They're a talented team, and we're looking forward to playing them.
Auburn is Auburn, and they're a good team, so we can't let the hype of being number one distract us. We just got to make sure we go out every play and try to win the game.
I've heard about the Alabama game so much. As soon as the Tennessee game ended, I heard straight about Alabama. But what a good football program knows, a good football coach knows, a good player knows, is that you never overlook who's in front of you first. That's how you get beat. So to me, it's Auburn week. I focus on Auburn. I don't let all the hype and everything get to me. I'm not worried about game 9. I'm worried about game 8 right now.
They played 2 quarterbacks against Florida a week ago. Clint Mosley came off the bench in the third quarter and threw the ball well, and was 4 of 7 in passing. And what was their starter, Barrett Trotter, again, very talented guy, can throw the football, thrown for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. And so we'll have to prepare for both guys. We'll have to see. Kind of which way they go.
Pretty similar to us. They have a couple quarterbacks that have different strengths. One can run and one can throw, and they have a big, strong running back. So we're used to that playing against our offense, and hopefully we can get them stopped. Auburn is coached by Gene Chizik. We get a look at some of his info there, third year at Auburn. A lot of controversy when they hired him away from Iowa State. He was like 5-17 up there in a couple of years, and but somebody at Auburn had faith in him, and it yielded a national title. Obviously, last year a BCS title, but had been at Texas on the staff, had been at Auburn previously. So but Gene Chizik is a detail-oriented guy. He did win a national championship. And he's going to bring his team in here ready to play.
Well, Auburn's their defensive coordinator was a training ground for Texas defensive coordinators, because Gene got the job at Texas from Auburn when he was the defensive coordinator at Auburn, got the defensive coordinator job at Texas. Will Muschamp replaced him. He got the defensive coordinator job at Texas. But, yeah, he had the ties in the background, developed a really good relationship with some key influential members at Auburn, including Pat Dye. And he ended up moving on to Texas and moving on and getting the head job, as you mentioned, at Iowa State. A lot of consternation from, as you mentioned, from the Auburn folks, but he's a very good football coach, very good defensive coach. he hired a very good staff, very good recruiting staff, and they've done a good job. And they've had a couple of breaks, obviously getting a young man like a Cam Newton in a magical year. But this year's a bit of a rebuilding year, but they are the master of close games. Gene has won every game at Auburn that was 8 points or less. Every close game, they're money. It's the games where they're outmanned, like probably this week, where they have some problems. But they've had some issues, like every team seemingly that's played LSU has had issues at quarterback.
And speaking of quarterbacks, it's been announced that Gene Chizik will start quarterback Clint Mosley, a sophomore. Mosley is a guy who has not seen a lot of action yet this year. Clint Mosley will get the start. Barrett Trotter has also, he's been the guy. You get a look at Mosley's numbers there again. Not much, well, it's a passing deal. So anyway, we got, Mosley's going to start.
Well, they were neck and neck, Trotter and Mosley, through the spring, through the fall. And I think the one thing that separated Trotter is a junior, a little bit more experience. But, and I thought Trotter did a fairly decent job, even when they were struggling defensively in the first couple of weeks against Utah State, against Mississippi State. But the lack of productivity with that offense. Mosley's making a lot of mistakes, missing a lot of open guys. Mosley is more of a dual-threat quarterback, a little bit better at running their inverted zone read scheme, and he's got some passing capabilities. Now, what you're seeing there in the game there at quarterback is Kyle Frazier, who is a freshman from Springdale, Arkansas. The high school, former head coach at that time, Gus Malzahn, that same high school, and certainly Gus is the offensive coordinator at Auburn. And he's a really athletic guy that can run that zone read well. But I would expect to see Mosley, Frazier, and maybe even some of Trotter. So you're going to see two, maybe even three quarterbacks for Auburn.
Auburn's got a good running game. They got Michael Dyer, who's an outstanding running back. Let's get some comments from Coach Miles and the players about Auburn's ability to run the football.
Michael Dwyer is one of the best in the league. And number 5 is a physical, fast runner, a very capable back.
Oh, they are real hard backs to tackle. They run really hard. Dye, he's a big playmaker. I think toward the end of the season, he really showed the nation what he could do, and he stayed gaining big yards and making big plays. Number 23, he's real fast. He actually broke a long one on his last year to win the game for Auburn.
The run is one of the main things that you had to stop, but I think this team is still good and still strong with or without Cam Newton. I think that Cam Newton was a gracious player. He did a lot of things for those guys, but I feel like they're still a strong Auburn team.
We get a look at Michael Dyer's statistics, the running back. He's from Little Rock, Arkansas. A couple of Arkansas guys ended up on the plains in Auburn, but Dyer is a good running back, a very powerful type running back.
He is. He's a good he's their inside runner, and on the zone read, he can be very effective. He hits the hole hard, runs with good balance, good vision, and he's a really good one. McCaleb is really a guy that gets the edge really well. He's 23 that we've seen in a couple of
and
years.
He had the long TD run last year that Brandon Taylor was referring to.
Absolutely, and got great speed on the edge. So you've got to, when you defend this running game, there's no question Auburn's going to try to run the football. That's what they're going to. They know they're going to have to throw it to be able to open up the run, but they want to hit the edge with McCaleb and work the inside run out of the spread and the zone read with Dyer. So it's going to be an interesting test. This comparison, I've been asked to compare a little bit. This Auburn team is a little better than Florida and a little better than Tennessee. Not nearly, what we normally associate with Auburn. I know Auburn always plays LSU well. So does Tennessee. So does Florida, for goodness sakes. It's not the same type of teams. I'm a big believer that it's what type of team you have. Certainly they're going to play with a lot of fight, but this is certainly a matchup where they're a little bit overmatched. But offensively, they were not very effective last week. They have gotten a little better, and we'll get into it on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and Auburn defense, of course, defense helped lead them towards the national championship last year. It's not the same defense. There are some new players out there, but there are a lot of returning players and coaching staff intact. Here's some comments from Coach Miles and the players about the Auburn defense.
The defense is active, big, strong, capable men. They held Florida just 194 yards total offense. They forced 3 turnovers. Their defensive line's a very athletic and fast group. Their defensive end, Corey Lemonier, is one of the sack leaders in the conference.
Yeah.
So
no, they're a physical ball club. They're a smart ball club. It seems like they're not out of position a lot, so that they understand where they need to be, and it makes it hard, from a quarterback standpoint of. Just trying to make things work. So they're a very talented football team.
Well, I think their secondary is really aggressive. I think they're one of the trash-talking, most aggressive secondary that we can face so far this season. So we got to, prepare ourselves for a rowdy secondary, keep our head and just play football.
So the matchup's all set. Kickoff shortly after 2:30 on CBS. University of Auburn, they're ranked. They're in the BCS standings. 5-2 overall, 3-1 in conference play. Last week they defeated the Florida Gators 17-6. LSU, of course, number 1 AP, 2 USA Today, number 1 in the BCS. As you know, 7-0, 4-0, 38-7 over the Volunteers in Knoxville last week. Again, kickoff right after 2:30 on CBS. And don't forget, immediately following that game, it's the Phones First WJBO Pelican Sports TV post-game show at about 6 p.m., give or take a couple of minutes. Richard Condon and me, Tommy Chrysan, and your phone calls. Phones First, WJBO. If you're in the parking lot, you're in the traffic, WJBO 1150 a.m. or on your smartphones at iHeartRadio, WJBO.com. Of course, if you're at home with the TV going, it's Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com. When we come back, still have plenty to get into. We'll break down LSU. Chris Landry will tell you who's going to take the place of the suspended guys. When we return, we'll visit with Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. He'll give his very latest account. He was at the Miles press conference on the suspensions. We'll recap that quickly before getting into LSU for those of you that may be joining us here in hour number 2. With Chris Landry, NFL scout, Fox Sports football analyst, I am Tommy Chrysan. This is Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV. Stay with us.
It's time to score double points.
Papa's in the house.
Get double points every day to earn free pizza fast with Papa Rewards at papajohns.com.
The best way to kick off game day is with a better pizza, a Papa John's pizza.
Plus, get a large Works pizza or a Tuscan 6 cheese. Your choice, just $11 each. Get double points every day at papajohns.com.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
The official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Explore the charms of the North Shore and visit St. Tammany Parish. Whether you're looking for a cultural experience or an adventure, you'll find it here. Enjoy great attractions and fantastic dining in a relaxed and friendly atmosphere.
Come visit us and discover the history and heritage that is Louisiana's North Shore.
For more information, log on to louisiananorthshore.com/bb.
Hi, I'm attorney Kerry Bryson. My law firm focuses specifically on helping people try to solve their IRS tax problems. Lately, so many new out-of-state companies are popping up claiming that if you send them money, they can resolve your IRS problems. Well, what happens if they don't? Do you hire an attorney? Maybe you should start with a local attorney that's already handled hundreds of IRS cases right here in Louisiana. When you hire the Bryson Law Firm, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some out-of-town high-pressure salesman. You'll meet with us in person at our office right here in Baton Rouge. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and we'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it'll cost. So if you're hiring a company to resolve your IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, check their reputation first, then call me, Kerry Bryson, or go to brysonlawfirm.com. If you're a Louisiana resident and you have an IRS problem, hire a Louisiana attorney, Kerry Bryson.
We continue with Tigers Roar here on Pelican Sports TV. Chris Landry, Tommy Chrysan with you. Right now, it's our pleasure to be joined by Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. Brian, how you doing this evening?
Good, Tommy. How you doing tonight?
We are a little bit busy, but that's fine. Enjoy visiting with you. Brian, you were out at LSU just before 6:30. Coach Miles met with the media. Give us your recap, and I know I spoke to you shortly before we went on the air tonight, but the very latest on the suspensions as you see it.
Well, certainly Les had no intention of bringing up, I'm not say bringing up, but confirming or not confirming anything, and he said that was his plan, and that's certainly what he did. Yes, he knows what everybody was asking about, and there's no doubt that the 3 players failed the drug test and will be suspended, but Miles certainly wasn't going to say such was the case, and there were different ways people asked questions, and Miles didn't give in, and that's just his. I think it's a matter of he didn't want to get involved, didn't want to say who the substitutes would be, didn't want Auburn to have anything to know about as far as personnel, and that's just how Les Miles is, and he did the same thing again tonight.
We're visiting with Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. Brian, our feeling here, nothing official, but our feeling is this is a 1-game suspension, and it's not expected to extend beyond the Auburn game. What is your thought on that?
Right, that's what I'm hearing. According to LSU's drug policy, for a second violation, a player suspended up to, and that's how it's phrased, up to 15% of the season. Well, 15% of the season is 1.8 games. 1.8 isn't 2 complete games, so I think that they're going to probably just be suspended for the Auburn game.
Brian, I wanted you to comment about the play at the offensive line. There's been so much talk all year long about Jarrett Lee and then Jordan Jefferson when he got reinstated, the running backs and, different guys with different touches. But this offensive line has played a key role in not allowing sacks. They've had a handful of penalties, and they've had to move it around and interchange themselves a little bit due to some injuries. Talk in general about the play of the offensive line as you see it.
Well, coming into the year, everybody said, okay, this offensive line, they got 8 guys back who have started a game. And everybody knew they had a lot of depth and experience, and they've needed it, and it's paid off. Josh Dorosic, that's the most experienced offensive lineman on the team, a 2-year starter, and he was lost for the season back in August. So you're down 1 guy there. And really, everybody that has been on the offensive line, the other starters, with the exception of Will Blackwell, has sat out some time with injuries. Guys have been able to play multiple positions. T-Bob Hebert has been at center, and he's been at guard. Will Blackwell has been at both guards. Greg Shaw stepped in at right tackle and then left tackle. So Josh Williford has stepped in. So I think everybody knew that they had experience and depth along the offensive line, and that is, it showed up. Les Miles did say this evening that P.J. Lonergan will start this week against Auburn. Of course, he gave the indication last Wednesday that he would probably play against Tennessee, and then he didn't make the trip. So, you've got to understand that Les does play games with personnel at times. But I really believe that Lonergan will start. And he indicated that Williford will still stay at guard, and that T-Bob Hebert would probably swing as a backup between center and guard. I really don't know how healthy T-Bob is. I saw him Monday when he was doing interviews, and he had a pretty good limp going with him on Monday evening. So I just don't know how healthy Hebert is right now.
Brian Lazar, tell everybody when they're going to get when they go to TigerBait.com.
www.tigerbait.com, a 7-day free trial all the time. Obviously, coverage of the football team, coverage of the recruits and players who LSU is looking at, plenty of videos. And, basketball practice started a week ago. Had a couple basketball stories up on the site this week.
Brian Lazar, TigerBait.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate Brian's contribution here on Tigers Roar. Speaking of basketball, next Wednesday night, we will have a show. This is a year-round show, 52 weeks a year, although there'll be no LSU football game on the weekend of the 29th. And one thing we will do next week, between now and then, we're taping an interview with Trent Johnson, taping an interview with Nikki Caldwell, the ladies' coach. We'll have that for you next Wednesday night, a little more basketball flavor with the open date on the football schedule, among other things. Of course, we'll still talk football. We'll have plenty of that, but probably a little more of a run through the athletic department next week without an upcoming game. And again, a chance for us to focus on basketball. I was at Media Day a few days ago, and when Coach Johnson and Coach Caldwell spoke to the media. But then I'm going to go do some one-on-ones with them exclusively for Tigers Roar.
It's going to be interesting. Of course, it's the bye week. And just a quick note, I heard from talk with somebody that works for ESPN. They're planning, of course, the LSU-Alabama game. They're planning, I'm told, a Super Bowl-ish type plan for that week. That's where game day is going to be and everything. But apparently they've got, I don't know exactly what, a lot of extra things. So for people who like that stuff and the hype that leading up to it, they got an extra week to hype that game. And obviously LSU takes care of Auburn as expected, and Tennessee takes care of Alabama takes care of Tennessee. As expected. That hype is going to just escalate, and even obviously with the.
Well, we haven't been able to avoid it on Pelican Sports Radio, and even on the post-game show last week after the LSU-Tennessee game with the Auburn game coming up, we had callers pointing at the Alabama game. You've seen players commenting on it in the interviews that we have done. I go on radio shows in New Orleans and in the Florida Panhandle each week, and they're talking about it last week. I mean, and I'd have to say, well, this is Auburn week. Right. When I'm with you next week, we can talk about Alabama.
It's a national question I get. It's the game nationally that everybody's talking about. I mean, as big as Michigan State, Wisconsin is, it's everybody nationally is talking about Alabama, LSU.
Let's get into some LSU for you. First off, the LSU offense is much improved from last year. Comments from Coach Miles and the players about that improvement. Statistically, they're significantly better. Numbers are higher. Turnover numbers are lower. Let's take a look at these comments about the LSU offense.
I just think it's it's the understanding of how it's going to be called and when it's going to be called, and I think the plan is kind of evident for all that are participating, and I think maybe that speaks more to how it's being displayed and coached, and I think it's I think there's a real credit due to Greg Stadrawa and Craig Thorpe and that offensive staff.
It's helped a lot. I think it's benefited us a lot. Less personnel, less plays, and I think we're doing a great job at that. And Coach Cragthorpe, that's credit to Coach Cragthorpe, kind of what the mindset he's brought to this team.
Yeah, and that was the whole plan coming into this summer and this past spring, is to be very efficient with what you do, and also to kind of simplify a lot of things. Coach Cragg, he brought that into this to this offense, and Coach Stud is doing a great job of calling the plays, and in a sense we kind of call him the two-headed monster. Coach Stud and Coach Cragg are doing a great job, and I'm proud of them.
Oh, our job is to go to practice and get better each and every week. We can't, stay on the past or what game we ever stay in. We got to take our focus and get better each and every week.
It's, we're playing some good football right now. We're running the ball well. We're throwing it well, and our defense is playing really hard. So it's something we're just trying to improve, and get better each and every week.
This team is a great team, and I feel like Les Miles is a great coach. This is the guys that he recruited, and I feel like he set himself up to put himself in the right predicament with the right coaching staff and the right group of guys to go out there and have a great chance of winning every Saturday night.
I think that sometimes people think we get lucky, but we prepare day in and day out for the plays that we run, and if we run a trick play and it works, it's because we prepared to do that at that point in the game.
What Steve Cragthorpe, really brings to the room, he's got great energy. He knows how to coach the quarterbacks. He gives insight that we need, and I think Greg Stadrawa is his experience and the understanding that how it gets done certainly puts him in best position. And again, the room, leans together, and they come up with the best answers. And there's nobody that's not contributing, and it's best that way.
The small things about being a quarterback, fundamentally throwing the football and footwork and things like that. So that's really what he's brought to the table to us quarterbacks, and I think it's helped us be more accurate as a quarterback.
LSU offense has improved significantly, numbers-wise. Turnovers are down. You got some comments on that, Chris?
Well, you know, the big thing, the difference in the offense, it's not that the whole offensive style has changed. Which changed, looking at them on film, is, you know, last year, while they did a whole lot from a personnel grouping and a pre-snap motion standpoint to try to confuse defenses, I think it really slowed down the pace and energy of their own offense. While they're still doing multiple personnel groupings and motions, it's more just to get the defense to declare, to help give a better pre-snap read, man, zone coverage, quickly identify the Mike backer. So what they've done, they have streamlined it. They've made it much more seamless and much more advantageous. Here's the reality. They've taken a simplistic approach of, we don't have to trick anybody. If we're better, we're going to just go and do things simplistically, cut down on mistakes. I think they recognize that the only way they're going to lose most of the games that they play is if they turn the ball over, if they play foolishly, they lose field position, and they take unfoolish errors. So they've done a good job of kind of streamlining that.
Here's some stats on a couple of the offensive guys from a receiving perspective. First up, Ruben Randall. We get a look at his stats first off in the Tennessee game, and then on the season stats for Ruben Randall, the junior wide receiver at Tennessee. He had a touchdown, a 45-yard long gain, 5 catches for 86 yards. He's got 28 catches on the year for 532 yards, 5 touchdowns. Ruben Randall has done a very good job. He knew he would be counted on this year. A guy who wasn't counted on as much, but good things were hoped for, Odell Beckham Jr., the freshman out of Newman High School in New Orleans. You see his stats against Tennessee and his season stats. This guy has really performed, not like a true freshman, to steal one of the old cliches. Of course, these guys are catching the ball now from 2 different quarterbacks. Jarrett Lee, the starter, looks like that's the plan for at least for a while going forward. But Jordan Jefferson is going to have packages and plays in there for him. Here's some comments from Coach Les Miles and the players about the LSU quarterback situation.
I think the diversity of attack with both quarterbacks is what we want, and that certainly is going to give defensive coordinators issues as they prepare calls and as they prepare formation attacks. So. Yeah, I like the diversity of our quarterback play, and I think it should continue.
Yeah, we are. You know, that's kind of the understanding me and Jordan have. You know, we're moving the ball, we're putting points on the board, and we're winning games. So whatever we got to do to keep doing that, that's what we're going to do.
You know, it's a team. You know, it's a team effort. You know, both of them, whatever their role is, they're going to play it to the best of their ability. You know, they're going to be happy with whatever they're doing because it's a team effort. We're making each other better.
Coach Crabthorpe, Coach Stud, Coach Miles, they do a great job rotating both QBs with the one. So in practice, we get reps with both quarterbacks. So in game time coverage, not really a problem.
If you watch the game, I watched the replay, and there was a couple hits that Jordan laid on those guys running the ball where it was nasty. It looked like those Tennessee safeties kind of ran into a brick wall and then just fell off. But, you know, he definitely brings that hard run element that Spencer Ware and those other backs do. And it's just this team, I don't know, we really seem to wear down on defenses in the second half.
Well, that kind of surprised me. You know, he really haven't showed that before to me. So it was kind of a shock, and I think it's something Coach Miles going to look forward to, you know, for the rest of the season, because offensively we really didn't expect that from him. But I think he shows great physicality, you know, running the football, and we can use that.
You know, we each bring something a little different to the table, and you know, we're putting points on the board and putting yards on the board, and you know, we're winning ball games, so we're happy with that.
It's helping, man, because like I said, I mean, we have 2 quarterbacks that bring two different elements to the table. 2 quarterbacks that bring 2 different, you know, tools, as you can say. And Jordan is just another weapon in that bag. And you know, the thing about it is that we still haven't really showcased, you know, Jordan his arm talent. And everybody in the country knows Jordan Jefferson can throw the football. We beat Alabama last year with Jordan Jefferson throwing the football. We beat Texas A&M last year with Jordan Jefferson throwing the football. And I've heard even people like Peyton Manning saying he has a great arm talent. So he has a talent. But we still got some tricks in the bag that we're not showing people, you know, because we're able to play, you know, really basic football and be very efficient and win that way.
I don't know that there's difficulty in substituting in the fact that I think both guys give strengths, and I think you're at some point in time going to want to expose another strength that you have and play the other quarterback, whichever one's on the field. And I don't, as long as it is a perceived strength, I don't know how you can, I don't know that you can be wrong, putting a guy in the game.
Talk about the offense and the quarterbacks. Jared Lee, you get a look at his numbers against Tennessee. 3 touchdowns. Originally after the game, it was credited with 2. LSU made an official stat change on Sunday, and that last one to Shepard was ruled as a touchdown. So you see his stats on the game against Tennessee on the season. The season, an important look down there. 11 TDs, 1 interception. That ratio is sparkling, to say the very least. And then you look at Jordan Jefferson, obviously suspended for 4 games against Tennessee. Everything was limited, certainly passing, although rushing, he got a few more carries.
I think the best way to describe the quarterback play this year has been efficient, very efficient. There's no question.
And that's what they want.
There's no question that they're aided a great deal by the physical approach of this offense up front, their ability to control the line of scrimmage with the running game, and it makes it a very easy position to play, easier position to play when you have that. And I think Jarrett Lee's been very effective as a passer. I think he's a good play passer. I think that Jordan Jefferson, when they've utilized him, he brings a different element to the game. You could see maybe at certain times inserting Jordan may sometimes disrupt the rhythm of the passing attack to some degree with Jarrett Lee, but it gives the dimension that Les Miles likes from the quarterback position, and that is the run-pass option, the mobility, and we saw in the 99-yard drive the effectiveness that it can have. So going forward, I think we know by now, we've kind of addressed that after the Kentucky week, that this is going to be pretty much how it's going to be handled from the quarterback position from here on out.
Well, and they want to see roughly 18 passes. That might be 16, that might be 20, but in that window is what they want to see. The rest of it, they're going to turn over to the running game, the offensive line that Brian Lazar talked about and that you've talked about, and go ahead, some double tight, a little bit more of that against Florida than against Tennessee, but certainly they're going to, they're going to try to run the football. Here is some comments from Coach Miles and the players about the running game at LSU.
It's interesting. You talk about tinker and view. We do it all the time, and that's that's the plight of coaches. What's the best chemistry? What's the best makeup? We want to pound them yet again. We think that Michael Ford comes to the line of scrimmage fast. I think he runs inside well for a guy that's not necessarily 220 pounds, but he runs in there fast, and it makes a difference. I have no problem with Michael Ford. Blue has carried some inside snaps, but again, we give thought to it every week. We look at every play, and we review those guys, and we say, maybe he should get a couple more carries. So that's not. We wouldn't want to tinker. Yeah, we would. We want to make it better. We want to make our team best.
Oh, it's definitely feel great. Anytime you get in the game and play, it's gonna feel good. To have a big run or get in there and make one run, it's gonna feel good.
When you have a player and Spencer Ware, who's also so young, and he's kind of a native to the state, it's great because, like I said, he brings a whole different, element to the team, which is kind of rubbing off on everybody. Now you got receivers starting to stiff arm. You got, fullbacks running people over, quarterbacks running people over, and we consider ourselves one of, if not one of, the most physical team in the country. And when you can have people like Spencer Ware, Jordan Jefferson, Ruben Randall, and other guys like Kenny Hilliard stepping up and making those physical type of plays, when defensive coordinators, turn on the film, they're like, okay, we got a game ahead of us.
We got a great back like Spencer, Blue, Ford, running the ball, up and down the field. Defense is don't want to wear the defense is out like that. So we got to do a great job making plays, and I think we're doing a great job.
that running game, obviously Spencer Ware will not play against Auburn. He, if you hadn't heard yet, and Tyrann Mathieu and Darrell Simon will not play against Auburn. Internal suspension by the university. Looks like a one-game thing. That's not definitive yet. But looking at some of the stats, Spencer Ware has been the bell cow. 84 yards against Tennessee, a team-leading 530 on the season. Michael Ford, you may expect his touches to go up a little bit. The Leesville product could get more carries against the Auburn team, as he only had 5 against Tennessee and does have 6 touchdowns on the season. Who else might we see? We're going to see more of Alfred Blue. Might we see more of Terrence McGee, the freshman from Franklinton?
Going to have to. I mean, I think certainly Ford and Blue are going to get the majority of the carries, probably in that order, but it really depends how that's going to go. But McGee as well. For as much as this team wants to run the football, and you subtract the bell cow back, which is, I think, the Apoedo described Spencer Ware, who's, by the way, is running as good as anybody in the SEC. And I know Trenton Richardson's been phenomenal at Alabama. Spencer Ware has really been running the ball extremely well. So in his absence, there's no question. I think you're going to see a heavy dose of all three, but probably most of the work going to Ford and Blue. And they're going to need to step up. They're going to need to not just be the guys that can make big plays in the 6, 8, 10 carries, but one of them might have to carry 18, 20 times and be a factor, because Auburn is going to load the box against them. That's what they're going to try to do, and I think it's also going to put a little bit more emphasis on maybe taking some chances in the passing game to open up the running game.
And message to the running backs, do not fumble the football.
Don't fumble the football. That's certainly an issue and a problem. You've got one guy that's great in ball security that will not be in the game. If you have one that puts it on the ground, that's the one thing we talk about every week. LSU, good team. They're a good team. Why? They're very talented. They cause a lot of problems, put a great deal of pressure on opposing offenses. They create turnovers. They protect the football on offense. That turnover margin is reflective of how good of a team they are. That can't change. If that changes, then it becomes a little bit hairy.
Now, Coach Miles was asked on Monday at the press luncheon about, LSU has started slow in the first half of numerous games this year and then kind of separated themselves in the second half. He used the word dominate, asked about dominating the second half of ball games. Here are those comments from Coach Miles and players about the offense playing much better in the second half of most of the games this year.
Anytime that you take your defense off the field and you keep them rested and you put them on a comfortable playing schedule, and the fact that they're not going to be playing a lot of reps, and then offensively you can keep the ball and continue to grind out some tough yardage, you'll eat the clock, and and if there are productive drives that end in scores, that's really what you want.
Well, yeah, we work hard, and it's something in the summer we always say that we want to outwork people in the fourth quarter. So it's something we prepare hard and we work hard each and every week, and I think it helps us on Saturdays.
Yeah, we're playing consistent football. Like I said, we're not going to throw it 30, 40 times a game, but when we throw it, we're going to throw it very efficiently, and we're going to make plays on the perimeter. And running-wise, that's what we do to wear teams down and make teams quit defensively. We give it to Spencer Ware. We give it to Alfred Blue. We give it to Michael Ford. We give it to Terrence McGee. You give it to Jordan. You let me get back there some and get him on the perimeter. So the run game is, what we have to establish, and we have to keep making plays on the perimeter throwing-wise.
Well, I think that in every game, there's a number of snaps that every defense plays very, very fresh. And when you exceed that number of snaps, no matter how good your defense is, it's a wearing effect. And certainly I think you see some of that in the back end of games that we play in.
We continue with Tigers Roar. Chris Landry, Tommy Chrysan with you. We're live on Wednesday nights. If you're catching this on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you got a replay going. We appreciate that. This is live 2 hours each and every Wednesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Does repeat in New Orleans on WHNO TV channel 20. Fridays at 5 p.m. Takes care of the North Shore, Bayou Country, Mississippi Gulf Coast. Chris, we now know with this LSU-Auburn game being at 2:30 this Saturday, And the final SEC home contest of the year, Arkansas, day after Thanksgiving, I want to say a 1:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
There will be no night games, no night conference games for LSU in Tiger Stadium, and that sparked enough feedback and commentary from the fans shortly after the Auburn kickoff was announced. Arkansas has already been announced. Alabama and Ole Miss games are on the road. That athletic director Joe Oliva even had a letter to the Tiger fans explaining that, this comes with this is one of the prices you pay for the success and the ranking and all of that. And two key things in the letter that I would like to emphasize, and I know you'll concur with. Number one, LSU does not have an option to refuse CBS saying, hey, it's a 2:30 kickoff, or that one week when it was an 11:20 kickoff. It's contractually bound that they must adhere to that contract and when a time is moved. The other key thing is, and a lot of fans were griping about this, LSU receives the same amount of money regardless of what time the kickoffs. There was those faction of fans that said, LSU's moving it to 2:30 because they get more money than at night. Not true. Okay, and all of that's in the letter by athletic director Joe Oliva. And if you want to read the entire letter, you can go to lsusports.net, the official website of the LSU Sports, and it's still on there. You can find a letter from Joe Oliva, or you'll find it on there, navigate around, and you can read the entire letter. But that was the basis of it, that this is part of the price you pay for the success this program is having nationally and obviously in the conference. And you don't have any choices about the time. You're contractually bound. Same money no matter what time kickoff.
$18.3 million a year per school they get from CBS and ESPN. ESPN has the first choice. They choose. They've got the 2:30 time slot. Yes, they do once a year, and it's always in October. Night game, and it used to be the Florida-Tennessee game, and certainly they've done that at CBS. But they can't move that game. Why are they not putting the Alabama LSU game in that? Well, because they can't. They've got the 2:30 time slot. They get the first choice. Then ESPN gets a second choice, and ESPN, they pay a lot of money to have that nighttime slot, and ESPN2 has the 5 p.m. Central. So, but it's all part of the ESPN family. So that's exactly right. That's part of it. You're part of a conference, and when that check for $18.3 million comes to you in Destin, it makes it a little more palatable. It's bad news, but it's good news. It's a good commentary on where you are as a program.
Here's some comments from Coach Miles and the players about the no night games, if you will, in Tiger Stadium. I should say conference games.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a little frustrating, especially for our fans. I think they deserve better. That's an LSU tradition. That's something that we're one of the few schools that really prides itself in playing those night games, and not being able to play them, it's disappointing. But for us as a team, it doesn't really make a difference because whether you played 7 in the morning or 7 at night, you're still playing the same people on the same field, and you're going to have to play it no matter what. So we're bringing that focus, we're bringing that desire to win, and we're just going to prepare like we do every other week.
Actually, at the Tennessee game, the fans were screaming, "We want night games." Everybody on the sideline was laughing because we know we want night games too, but that's how it goes because I think we picked up by CBS, and they have the choice to pick who they want to put on there, and we keep playing the way we keep playing. CBS going to keep picking us, so we're going to have a lot of day games.
I think they enjoy nationally televised games. I think they enjoy grand venues. I think they understand challenges and that they have to answer those challenges each and every week, and they're different. It's not just a game. It's not just 4 quarters. It's this opponent and the strengths that this opponent brings to bear and what needs to be accomplished within that game week. I think they've really taken that challenge, and it's it's a want to improve. It's an ambition at the end of the season. There's a number of factors that work here.
Now, if you missed the announcement earlier this year, and you're a big-time college football fan that has been watching games since late August, early September, whenever it all started like we have, you've heard of the combat uniforms, the special edition uniforms that Nike and some other company, Under Armour, some other companies are putting out. LSU will wear a special Nike uniform for the contest with Auburn. You can find it online. Just look up LSU Nike Combat uniform. Pretty much a whole white thing from helmet to shoes, and with some purple in it and some actually thin purple stripes on the helmet. It's going to look a little different and not going to look bad. This compared to some of the other stuff I've seen on some of the other teams around the country. Again, it's a personal choice. Some people like chocolate ice cream, some like vanilla. It's very subjective, but LSU's are not real bad. Again, compared to some of this stuff, I'll keep the names off the list now, but I've seen some that absolutely look hideous to me. Then I've seen some that I thought looked pretty good, pretty sharp, whatever it may be. I'm going to let Coach Miles tell you his story about these combat uniforms and the fact that he did approve this prior to it being released. This is not something that they said, hey, you got to wear this. It was a joint effort to come up with something, as you're going to hear Coach Miles say, to represent the tradition of LSU football and you know, LSU. Here are those comments, and then we'll elaborate on it.
Our uniform will represent LSU. It'll look very much like a uniform that an LSU football team would wear. It'll be maybe a little sleeker in design. I think the colors will be very historic in base, and I think you'll like the uniform. And it's some of the uniforms I think are a wonderfully artistic reflection that somebody else had, and I think our guys will enjoy this uniform. I think it's the exact right kind of uniform for an LSU team to wear.
It's going to be unique. It's going to be unique. It's kind of a new little deal. You know, you've seen teams like Michigan State bring some out. You've seen other teams like Georgia at the beginning of the year against Boise bring them out. So it's always different to play in a little some rather than purple and gold. But I look forward to playing them and hopefully having a great game in them.
Do you like the uniforms? Do you particularly like these new uniforms?
Oh, yeah. As players, we always like them. You know, we always like them. You know, a little different, something different. It's a memory that you'll have in your college experience, and also, you know, kind of give you a little more confidence. You look good, you play good. That's Deion's logo. I mean, kind of his motto, and that's what we live by. That's why it's kind of hard to look good all the time when you come to such a traditional school.
Do you like them better?
I'm excited to be in it. You know, Coach Miles gave Greg and them opportunity to show us. You know, we pretty excited to have, you know, try something on new.
We're looking forward to them. We're excited about it. It's something new, and you know, we're excited to get in them.
Yes, everybody kind of excited because we wear the same thing every week. But this is traditional school. We like it because it's traditional school. But we think that us bringing out something new once a year, every year, bring a lot of excitement to the fans and help us with recruiting.
I think Maryland had on one ugly one. I didn't like that at all.
I like it. I like it a lot. You know. Got some pretty flashy cleats, which for a lineman, that's about as good as it's going to get. So definitely try to hold on to those.
I love it because, you know, we're traditional. We wear the same white uniforms almost every game. Even though this one's white, it's a different white. So my gloves are probably going to go in like a display case in my house or something. So it's something fun.
You're definitely superstitious. I think every athlete is superstitious, you know. So I don't really think that, you know, we never played in them, so you can't be superstitious about it.
I'm not superstitious at all about it. You know, there's a lot of teams in the country that are doing it. So I think it's just, you know, Nike's trying to, you know, kind of bringing something new to the table, and I think it's great. I think you know, the jerseys and uniforms look good, and I think we're excited to get in them.
I like them. You got to commend Nike. Nike did an amazing job, you know, having us look good, and I look forward to wearing them and looking pretty cool.
I think a lot of people right now, you know, they're really enjoying this season, and they're trying to. I think people might be afraid it's going to derail or something. They're looking for a scapegoat. But the bottom line is, at this point, no matter what we're wearing, where we're playing, what time we're playing, we got to come out there and focus on what we do best and execute our game plans, because we got great coaching, and the coaches are going to put us in a position to win, and that's all we can do. And win, loss, it's not going to be because of uniforms, and it's not going to be because of the time of day.
Chris, I thought T-Bob Hebert said it best. It doesn't matter what the uniform and what time of the day and what time of the night and all that. You still have to go out, play 60 minutes of solid football, execute the plan the coaches give you, and and come away with a win. But I know that was, from what I was saying, that was your first look at the uniforms. I had seen them previously, and a little irony there. The model had on number 20, which is no longer worn by anybody at LSU because of Billy Cannon. I don't know that it's officially retired, but it's like an unwritten rule. So the little model there was wearing Billy Cannon.
Yeah, I hadn't really seen it. I can see. I got my understanding is they're thinking about maybe going to this full time.
No.
Yeah.
It's a one-time.
It's not. I heard the rumor that they were going to vote and that they were going to decide because since they're going to move all home games now at 11:30, they thought all white would be better.
Well,
that's not true.
You trying to stir it up? We're going to come back. We're going to straighten out Chris Landry, and then we're going to come back, take our weekly run through the athletic department here on Tigers Roar. Pelican Sports TV. Having fun with you. Spread the roar.
Total Occupational Medicine has been treating injured workers and providing drug tests and employment physicals in our community with a staff of certified professionals for over 20 years. Conveniently located at 3333 Drusilla Lane at I-12, Total Occupational Medicine can assess your needs and present a plan to get your injured workers back to work as soon as medically appropriate. Call Jim Bollinger or Dennis Taylor at 924-4460 to put the experienced team at Total Occupational Medicine to work for you today. That's 924-4460.
The family dental practice of Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr. and our highly trained staff are dedicated to providing care and treatment to our patients of all ages in all aspects of dental care. 23 years of experience and advanced training in cosmetic and restorative dentistry, TMJ, and treatment of snoring and sleep apnea allows Dr. Fruget to assist you in achieving the best in dental health. Call us today at 292-9700 to schedule your initial evaluation because we know how to make you smile.
BetterBatonRougeJobs.com has been extremely beneficial for the TM Automotive Group. And what stands out to us, it's easy to use, not only for us, but it's easy for the applicants. And it's the quality of applicants that we get. It's timely. We post something in the morning. By that afternoon, we have double-digit applicants. And again, it's the quality of the applicants.
Employers, now is a great time to hire, recruit, and look for potential new employees.
BetterBatonRougeJobs.com. It's free for job seekers and great for business.
Pelican Sports TV presents Pelican Radio. Get ready to mix it up with me, Tommy Chrysan, and Chris Landry, weekday afternoons from 3 to 4 p.m. Pro sports, college sports, high school sports, and much more. On the Score 1210 a.m. and on the internet at thescore1210.com.
40 years, 4 decades, nearly half a century. That's how long the citizens of Greater Baton Rouge have chosen Richards Honda. A simple, sincere, and honest process.
Louisiana's oldest and most experienced Honda dealership for over 40 years, Richards Honda.
Obviously, Tigers Roar is primarily a football thing, and with it being a year-round program, I always can talk about something with football. But each and every week, we like to take our weekly run through the athletic department. Starting next week, we'll get a baseball update with you with Jumbo Ronnie Rance each and every week and part of the run through the athletic department. As we look at the volleyball team, Coach Fran Flores' team off to an excellent start, 13-6 overall, 6-3 in conference play. Their next match Friday, October 21 against Alabama in the PMAC at 7 p.m. LSU volleyball, very consistent over the years, and not a surprise to see Coach Flory having the results again this year. The soccer team, Coach Brian Lee, 11-5-1 overall, 6-2 in conference play. Next game Thursday, October 20th, 7 p.m. kickoff as they play South Carolina at the LSU Soccer Stadium. And as I said last week, if you haven't gotten out to the soccer stadium this year, they made some improvements, some renovations, much more fan-friendly. Great place to watch a soccer match. Get on out and do that. One of the LSU swimmers picked up a gold medal at the Pan American Games, setting a Pan Am record, Amanda Kendall. So tip of the hat to Amanda for doing a great job in the pool and representing LSU in the Pan American game. A feature we have added here on Tigers Roar. Again, we're in Lafayette, we're in New Orleans. We do like to cover the whole state, but obviously this show is primary at LSU thing. But the Louisiana Sports Writers Association picks their college players of the week each and every week, and we announce it on radio, and we want to announce it on TV. Offensively, Colton Browning, the quarterback from Louisiana Monroe, gets the nod this week for his performance for the Warhawks. Defensively, it was a tie with Mo Claiborne from LSU and Lance Kelly from ULL, Louisiana Lafayette, tying on defense. And then special teams was Northwestern State return guy Philip Harvey. So tip of the hat to those guys being recognized by the Louisiana Sports Writers Association as Players of the Week. Chris, repeating the top story, you got a comment?
I was just going to mention, you know, congratulations, Mark Hudspeth and the ULL Raging Cajuns continue to roll on in the Sun Belt Conference, and to be remiss if didn't wish Bob Toledo all the best. Of course, he's no longer going to be the coach at Tulane, and as they've got into another coaching search, but just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, well, no, Raging Cajuns 6 in a row. They can control their own destiny in the Sun Belt. They are bowl eligible already. A lot of excitement with the ULL program, and you know, they've got a big matchup with Arkansas State down the road that could tell a lot as to whether they can win the Sun Belt. So
outstanding, man.
Attendance is up in Lafayette at Cajun Field, and
should be.
That's good, and they're winning. And tip of the hat to Coach Hudspeth, and he's got that ULL program really rolling well. And you made reference to it. Bob Toledo stepped down at Tulane this week, 2-5, 15-40 overall with the Green Wave, and once again another Tulane coaching change, and I don't know.
It's a tough job. It's a tough job. They've got a lot bigger problems than just the head coaching position, and really got to take a hard look, get a young, energetic person, and really rally and support around him, because they've got a big rebuilding project on their hands there.
And also, there's been quite a few names have been bandied about. I mean, typically you hear a bunch of names, and most of them are not realistic candidates. I've heard Terry Bowden, I've heard Bobby Bowden, not Bobby, Tommy Bowden and Terry Bowden. Of course, Frank Wilson on the LSU staff. Heard one of the Saints assistants. I've heard a lot of names. You can go to sportsnola.com. They got like 14 names listed on their list, if you will.
And most are unrealistic,
That don't mean that's what it's on athletic director Rick Dixon's list, but it may be, but it's not. It's a difference between being a realistic possibility and just a name on a list.
It's tough, because the reality is it's not a destination job. It's a job that you take the Tulane job, and if you're not successful, you're going to lose the job, as the case with Bob, or if you are successful, you're going to move on to a veteran. So it is something, and I do a lot of coaching search work for a type of program like Tulane. You got to find someone that's young, that's energetic, probably a first-time head coach, that's really excited about building a program. And listen, you hope that he goes on and takes it. It means that he's doing a good job, and you've kind of set the foundation in place. You know, it's like when Tommy Bowden was a head coach, they had a chance to hire Rich Rodriguez, and they could have continued to kind of build it with those type of coaches. I think it's not a destination job, and I think the sooner they realize that, the better.
Rich Rodriguez's name was on that list too, by the way.
Yeah, but that's the Bowdens and Rich they're not. I can tell you, they're not interested in that job. I think it's going to probably be a first-time head coach, or in the case of somebody like Bob Toledo that's just really looking for a job. There'll be some other options for some of the more prominent coaches.
Once again, repeating the top story that consumed Baton Rouge and South Louisiana and the nation after lunchtime today, and we opened with it here on Tigers Roar. Again, we're live every Wednesday night, 8 to 10 p.m. If you're catching this Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, you got a replay going, but we appreciate your time tuning in to Tigers Roar. We ask you to spread the roar for us. 3 LSU football players, Tyrann Mathieu, Spencer Ware, Tharold Simon, have been suspended for the Auburn game this Saturday in Tiger Stadium. Coach Miles met with the media shortly after 6 o'clock today. That's a normal Coach Miles meet with the media session. Of course, today there was probably a few more people down there with the story of the suspensions breaking this afternoon. All Les Miles said was it was an internal thing and he was handling it and he felt he was doing it the right way. He said no timetable on when this would be up or not up. However, all indications that Chris is here and I'm here and Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com, some other folks, that this is a one-game thing. Chris, we talked about the guys that'll step in offensively with Ford and Blue and McGee, getting some more carries. What about defensively? Who can LSU fans look to see on the field replacing the snaps of Mathieu and of Simon?
Well, Ron Brooks will end up starting opposite Mo Claiborne in the base defense. Derek Bryant will step in as the nickel position, obviously, because Tyrann Mathieu was a nickel. In the dime back, obviously it affects it all the way down. The dime back, Ronnie Vincent, who's the third corner, Craig Lawson, who's the third safety, are going to rotate situationally in there. So they've got good depth there. There's no question that they can handle this, particularly in this game. But what you worry a little bit about is as you lose two guys, you have an injury, your rotation is limited a little bit. But that's how it's going to end up looking. Certainly, I think it's going to be a challenge, but one in which they're in good position from a personnel standpoint to be able to adjust to it.
Each and every Thursday in Baton Rouge on the Score 1210 AM, the Score1210.com. It's the Chris Landry Show, where it's football, football, football all year round, college and pro. Chris, give everyone a hint of what you'll have on tomorrow's edition, this week's edition, I should say, of the Chris Landry Show.
Well, we'll give everybody an update on this LSU situation as they prepare for Auburn, kind of break down that game a little bit, as well as all the top matchups around the country in college football. Going to break those down and give all the latest information from inside the film room, things that I'm picking up there. NFL, top key matchups in the NFL this week. We'll get through all those matchups. So during the football season, we really try to drill down to the key matchups, get you updated on the BCS, all the latest information going on right up to date. So please join us for that hour of football every week.
And Monday through Fridays on that same station, the Score 1210 AM, the Score1210.com. It's Pelican Sports Radio with Chris Landry and me, Tommy Chrysan. 3 to 4 p.m. We take your phone calls. We mix it up. We got a lot of fun features and segments on the Pelican Sports Radio show. That's Monday through Friday from 3 until 4 p.m. And don't forget, immediately following the LSU-Auburn contest at about 6 p.m. Saturday, it's the Phones First WJBL Pelican Sports TV post-game show. Phones First, that's you, with Richard Condon and me, Tommy Chrysan, as your host. Your phone calls, scoreboard updates, stats. We got Offensive Player of the Game. We got an injury report. We talked to Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. We speak to Ronnie Rance of Sports Shorts TV. Phones First, that's you, WJBO. If you're in the parking lot, you're in traffic, 11:50 a.m. on your radio, iHeartRadio on the smartphone, WJBO.com. And then, of course, TV for those of you at home. It's Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans. Streaming on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com. Immediately following that LSU-Auburn game. Again, Phones First, WJBO post-game show. Richard Condon and me, Tommy Chrysan. Please spread the word about that. We look forward to your calls and recapping that Auburn game for you. And, of course, you can keep up with all of that at Pelican Broadcasting. That's the Facebook page. Over 2,600 friends now on the Facebook page. That number has grown all fall long. Go to Pelican Broadcasting Facebook page. You can keep up with Pelican Sports TV, which is known for the hunting and the fishing and the outdoors programming and a ton of local stuff. Pelican Sports Radio, Chris Landry Show. You can keep up with it all at the Facebook page. We have the YouTube page, which has clips from this show and some of our high school activities and other events that Pelican's involved in. The Twitter account is at Pelican Sports. We're into social media. We hope for you to join us and keep up with us on all of that good stuff socially as well. We got all that for you. And, of course, you can always send an email, pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. That's the email address, pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. Any kind of question, comment, topic, thought, something for Chris, something for me, somebody for a member of the staff here. We'll get it to the correct people, and you will get a response. You send that email to pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. Got a lot of people to thank on behalf of Pelican Sports TV, from Chris and Nick and Marty and Alan and the entire crew and staff here. A lot of people go into making this thing happen. All the cooperation we get from all the Sports Information Department members at LSU. Next week, a lot of basketball stuff for you with Trent Johnson and Nikki Caldwell, among other things, and, of course, a lot of football, to say the least. Chris Landry, the NFL Scout, Fox Sports football analyst. As always, it's good stuff, and you get your radio tomorrow. We get a little Pelican radio tomorrow, and then it's yet another weekend full of football. I'm Tommy Chrysan. Tigers roar on Pelican Sports TV. Thanks to you to watching. Spread the roar. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans. We'll talk to you again real soon.